Are you looking for some guidance and inspiration for what spiritual goals you should be setting? In this episode, we'll be looking at 3 biblical examples of spiritual goals that you can set for yourself. Welcome to The Current Christian, where we give disciples the tools and tips they need to grow their ministry. If you've been looking for a channel that can help you grow spiritually, mature relationally, or help you enhance your skills as a leader, then you've come to the right place. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. In our previous episodes, we were looking at steps you can take in order to set spiritual goals. But today we'll be listing out 3 goals that you should strive for. The first goal is to grow in love. Right off the bat, we have a verse which says, "Let love be your highest goal." Throughout the Bible, we are constantly presented with this idea of having love be the main motivator of all our actions. Do everything in love. Love does no wrong to others, so love fulfills the requirements of the law. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. Jesus himself tells us that love is the greatest commandment to follow. So if you're ever asked by someone, what's the most important thing that Jesus has ever taught? Well, you can tell them that it's to love God and love one another. Also, did you know that if you don't love others, it's impossible to love God? If anyone says, "I love God," and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he can see cannot love God whom he cannot see. It's not just you should love others. No, you honestly need to love others. Here's a task for you. Pause this video so you can study this verse that I'm putting on the screen. Then set a goal to improve in one of these areas right now for the rest of today, and write what that area is in the comments so I can, help hold you accountable. The second goal is act on your faith. Faith without deeds is dead. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Also, everything that does not come from faith is sin. If we want to please God and grow spiritually, we need to have faith. What Paul means by everything that does not come from faith is sin is that if you believe something, behave according to those convictions. If I believe that a chair is going to support me, then I'll gladly sit in it. But let's say I believe that the chair does support me, but I avoid sitting in it. Do I truly have faith that that chair will keep me supported? Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Abraham is a great example of someone acting on faith. Often Abraham gets ridiculed for being the person who almost murdered his son, but what people neglect to realize is that if Abraham is supposed to be called the father of faith, but never gets tested on that faith, then he wouldn't deserve the title. It would be like calling someone the strongest person on earth even though they never lifted anything heavy. Here's a task. What is one thing that God has asked for you to do, and what is one thing you can do right now in order to act on it? Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be anything big. A super small step is better than no steps taken at all. The third and final goal is develop greater understanding. We are told to be ready to explain why we are believers. If someone asks about your Christian hope, always be ready to explain it. If you don't know why you believe or what you believe in, it's very difficult to act in faith, and it's also very difficult to help others understand Jesus' love. When we have a greater understanding of who Jesus is, what Jesus did, and how Jesus can transform our lives, we can live more loving and faithful lives, and we can also help lead others to Jesus too. If you are still young and new to understanding what this whole following Jesus thing is, don't feel ashamed, but don't get complacent. Not growing in understanding literally means you are missing out on God's blessing. Just how a baby doesn't get to eat solid food till it's more mature, God isn't going to give you more until you mature. Here are some good verses to meditate on. Pause the video and take time to read them. So, to recap, the first goal is to grow in love. The second is to act on faith. The third is to develop greater understanding. All right, I want to know, which of these verses in this episode spoke to you the most? For me, it was definitely the verse that says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. So, write out yours in the comments below and let's start talking about it. Thank you for watching. I'd also like to thank our community of supporters over on Patreon. This video wouldn't be made possible without you, and if you really like this video, you too can join our crew of Patreon supporters by donating a few dollars a month to the Current Christian channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon if you haven't done so already. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.